Welcome everyone to this evening's webinar. We have a webinar on higher skills for you. This is National Careers Week this week, so a really important week here at the RNN Group for our learners, whether they are in FE or HE, to look at their careers and options for post-education. So tonight's webinar is on higher skills, nearly finishing National Careers Week off. I've got two of our experts here to talk to you about higher skills. I have Mark Ryan, who is our Vice Principal of Curriculum, and I have James Godsall, who is our Director of Employer Partnerships and Apprenticeships. And between the two of them, they can cover the higher skills offering that we have here at RNN Group. So what I'm going to do is share a presentation that we've put together for you, which will also allow your questions to be asked in this. This is what I've put together with the help of Mark and James, and I have also downloaded the top questions that the general public are asking about high level skills. And we will be presenting to you about what skills, high level skills, you can do with the RNN Group. So this is what the webinar will actually cover: general questions, course content and structure, higher skills courses, career and job opportunities, funding and costs, entry requirements and eligibility, and then progression and further study. So without further ado, let's talk about where all this is being held. Mark, can I ask you just to give our audience a little bit of a background and a talk on University Centre Rotherham?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome this evening. We have several campuses within the RNN Group. The University Centre Rotherham is a flagship campus for our higher education, higher skills provision, which is level 4 and above, that encapsulates your traditional HE, higher level skills, higher level apprenticeships. We also have the Rotherham campus itself, which is just around the corner over the road to the UCR, or University Centre Rotherham. We have our campus at North Notts, which is in the Bassetlaw region, and then we have our Dearne Valley campus, which again is in Rotherham. Dearne Valley campus has a focus on sport, public services, health and animal care in the higher level learning areas. University Centre Rotherham and Rotherham have a focus on accounts, leadership and management, teacher education, games, creative industries, arts, and several other areas. And our North Notts campus in Bassetlaw has the early years and health provision at a higher level skills, along with business and digital.
Thanks, Mark. It's worth noting that at University of Rotherham, we have our Business Centre Rotherham. It's where James is based as well, and we have a lot of our employer events there as well. So moving on to the next slide, there's a few questions, James and Mark, I'm going to put to you. Mark first, who can enrol onto higher skills courses?
If you have a level 3, you can enrol onto a higher level skills provision. If you're from a skills-based competency sector, so hair and beauty, and you have the prerequisites to move into aesthetics, as an example, and you have the prerequisites within beauty therapy, you can progress. If you've completed an access qualification, or you've completed part of a level 4 provision, for example, you're progressing to higher apprenticeships because you've completed a level 3 apprenticeship standard, you can enroll and you can move into a higher level skills courses. And we also have what we call mature learners, so learners who are moving back into education, that spent time out of education to seek employment, who's had a career and they're having a change of heart, a change of mind, a change of direction. Those individuals, those mature learners, can also progress and enroll into our higher skills. But what's really important is that the information, advice and guidance, the intimate conversations that take place with the teaching team, the lecturing team, the course leadership team, in relation to supporting every single individual, who are unique individuals that would enter the RNN Group to work within higher skills and develop themselves within higher skills.
Thanks. And Mark, this question is for you before I go to James for the last question, is how do these courses differ from traditional programs?
So traditional programs of higher level include things such as foundation degrees, degrees, master's degrees, HNCs or HNDs, the traditional route, higher skills. An example I provided earlier is the level 4, level 5 in clinical aesthetics is an example. Level 4 accountancy that would be classed as your non-traditional higher education routes, but more higher level skills routes that support progression within industry, within sector, or movements within sector, or whether promotions, moving across, utilizing newfound knowledge, skills, or developed skills within higher skills as well.
Thanks, Mark. And as we both know, we all know this, that the focus on the local skills programs are on these sort of skills areas, and that's really, really crucial. So, James, as regards apprenticeships, what sort of industry or fields can apprenticeship, higher and degree level apprenticeships allow a learner to go into?
Thanks, Lucy. So we offer higher apprenticeships in engineering through the HND, higher apprenticeship in engineering manufacturing technician. We offer healthcare apprenticeships, both at level 4 and level 5, for those people who want to work in care homes or in a healthcare setting. We have a suite of management qualifications from level 5 through to level 7. So that's talking around moving from operational management into strategic management through to our level 7 apprenticeship, which is the senior leader. And that's for people who are currently or are aspiring to be senior leaders within their organization. And they can fit across any sector. We know that leadership is one of the most important factors for any business succeeding. And so having training at level 5 and level 7 is a great way to differentiate your leadership team from your competitors. Outside of that, we have a childcare level 5 qualification that we offer. And coming in September 2025, we will have a higher apprenticeship in teaching assistants. So it's called a specialist teaching assistant, and it will be for people who have been a teaching assistant before or are currently working in that sector and want to move through to what we call an HTLA or high level teaching assistant status, which is the pathway to becoming a fully qualified teacher.
Thanks, James. That's really good to know. So over to you, Mark, again. Are these courses theoretical, practical, or both?
Higher level skills courses will be a combination of theory and practical, a hybrid where knowledge will be developed, and then an experiential opportunity to advance the practical skills and show what has been advanced and developed through theoretical application.
Thank you. And I know that higher skills courses then tend to last, between 1 to 2 years. But James, I think for a lot of people, degree and high level apprenticeships, how long do they tend to last?
So for our degree and high level apprenticeships, the average is 2 years. We've got apprenticeships that run for 3 years, and we've got some that, depending on the prior knowledge of the apprentice, could potentially be 18 months. We very much take a holistic view when it comes to looking at our apprenticeships. If someone comes to us with 10 years of management experience, it wouldn't be appropriate to put them on the full length of program because they've already got a plethora of experience. So what we do is flex and adapt the way we do our apprenticeship so that when we do your individual learning plan, we'll look at what your prior knowledge is, look at any prior qualifications you've got, and then make a judgment on how long we think you need on an apprenticeship. And so that can vary. It has to be a minimum of a year and a day, but the average would be 2 years if you came to us with a minimal prior experience on any of our apprenticeships.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you. And then across both apprenticeship areas and our higher skills areas, can people study part-time and or online? Mark, firstly to you.
Yes, of course, they can study part-time, full-time, hybrid, blended, face-to-face. So there's varied opportunities for learners to be able to study, achieve their goal, whilst also being able to live and meet their life demands, family demands, employment demands as well. So it's very much a flexible approach.
And James, at higher and degree level apprenticeships, the same?
So our apprenticeships are highly flexible. We work under an advisory board of employers in each sector, and they tell us each year what they want, what they think is the right way to do training. So for our level care, for example, we know that most care homes are very time poor and that weekly sessions are just not practical for most care homes. So what we do is online workshops that we do once a month to give some theory, to give some ideas and things that they can take out to practice. And then we set observations, excuse me, and job write-ups as well. And that'll span the length of the apprenticeship. It starts with fairly simple tasks and it works through to the most complex tasks that you will cover as part of your apprenticeship, which we normally do right before the end. We're also aware that people learning different ways. So we have the flexibility that we can do observations on learners if you're more theoretical and you prefer to talk. If you're more of a writer, we can do more job write-ups and witness testimonies that your employer will fill out for you. So we very much flex the way that we do the delivery. Our care programs are predominantly online. The only one that does have weekly face-to-face sessions is our engineering apprenticeship, higher apprenticeship, and that's just due to the nature of the HND. It's an HNC. It's a big qualification, and we need that face-to-face time with learners. We do also find that by having some support from other people from different organizations in your class, it helps you to get through and contextualize sometimes some of the theories that we're teaching. So all of our higher apprenticeships do have an element of face-to-face delivery, but we flex that around our employers.
Fantastic, thank you. Right, so one of the questions we always get asked is higher education qualifications, so skills-based qualifications, and what are they? So I'm going to go over to you, Mark, first to talk about the first two areas that we're going to in the first slide, which is the access to access courses and then the HN Flex. In brief, a quick summary. You can go onto our website anytime, just letting everyone know. We now have a page if you want to digest this after this webinar. If you go onto the UCR website and go onto information, you can see all this information here. But Mark is going to give you an overview of access to HE and then the HN Flex too.
The access to HE is for those learners that are looking to come back into education potentially, that will be looking to change direction and career aspiration, with a view to move onto higher level skills. So access into health to move into healthcare profession at level 4, level 5, access to policing, where students might move into a foundation degree or a degree even within criminology, or a policing apprenticeship. So the access is a focused space where individuals have a keen interest in health, early years, criminology, as an example, where individuals will then progress into a level 4, just like an A-level learner might, or a level 3 vocational learner might, or a T-level learner might. A level 4 is a level 4 qualification is an HNC. A foundation degree, the full year 2, or if it's done over part-time, 3 or 4 years, would equate to a level 5. We have non-prescribed higher level qualifications programs, such as the level 4 diploma or the level 4 accountancy, level 4 diploma in aesthetics. So there's lots of different opportunities as well there. We've got the HN Flex, which are units of the higher national provision, so a higher national certificate, a higher national diploma, where individuals can or employers can pay for the development and the acquiring credits to eventually achieve a full higher national certificate, or progress into a higher national diploma, which then might again result in completing a top up in a specific area as well.
That's great, Mark. So you've mentioned about the HNCs, the HNDs, and the HTQs. Could you just give us a bit more on HTQs, please, if that's all right?
Yeah, higher technical qualifications are a suite, an umbrella of qualifications that can form either a foundation degree, that can form from an HNC or an HND, where skills-based areas and employers have identified where skills gaps are, with a stronger focus on the practical element of the industry or the sector. So modern methods of construction at level 4, engineering England at level 4, healthcare professions at level 4 and level 5. So digital cybersecurity at level 4, level 5, where we've identified through working with employers, and it's in local skills improvement plans, where skills gaps are, the higher technical qualifications will allow those skills gaps to be filled, will allow individuals the opportunity to be promoted or get advanced job roles, which then includes and comes along with higher paid salaries as well. So and again, creating a more effective and fruitful economy.
Fantastic. Thank you then, Mark. James, over to you for apprenticeships now.
Yeah, thanks, Lucy. So, in terms of apprenticeships, there are a number of pros and cons when it comes to looking at that pathway for your higher learning. One of the benefits certainly is that you get paid, and your employer pays you for the time that you study on your apprenticeship. The minimum is 6 hours a week, which your employer must pay you for, and obviously that doesn't always include time spent at college. That can include independent study time. As higher apprenticeships, there is an element of you taking control of your own learning. It's not like being at college. There are assignments that are set, and you'll be expected to go away and do that research, do that deeper learning and theory. You'll also get the professional experience that goes along with an apprenticeship. So alongside your qualification, you're also picking up relevant work experience, which is often as valuable as the qualification that you're getting. And also it's funded by your employer. So most employers can access 95% of the funding from the government. If your employer is over a certain size, they may pay the apprenticeship levy, in which case they pay the full amount. But you as an individual do not pay anything towards the cost of your apprenticeship. You are paid through the training. And so when you look at the HNC HND pathway, for example, in engineering, there is no more cost-effective way than to have your employer pay for it as part of an apprenticeship. Having said that, many of our employers do pay the HNC HND direct with us as well. And also it's a great way to build your reputation within a business. As you're building your experience and your knowledge and your confidence, you're bringing to your employer the cutting edge theories that are part of the apprenticeship. There'll be things that you'll learn in there that you can directly apply to your job role. And that might be an aspirational job role for something that you want to get in the future. And it might be to develop you within your current role that you're doing at the moment. The cons, obviously, it's work, so you are working, and it can be a challenge. We know in care, for example, that the assignments that people have to do can be a real challenge to do alongside a very busy and at times stressful job. You've got to have the discipline to be able to do that study at work, or if you're doing it a weekend, that you take that time back. That can be a challenge, especially when it's a busy period. We're fortunate because as a college, we know that there are peaks and troughs with our businesses. And so we make sure that we flex that around your availability. But there is a point where you will have to get assignments done, and it's not something that you can really be doing at home. It's also very different to going to university. For some people, going to university and going to the University Centre Rotherham is a way of giving yourself more time to mature. You're in a career when you're doing a higher apprenticeship. And certainly for our apprenticeship, you've got to be a little bit experienced in that role. So you've got to have made the decision that this is the career that you want to do and you want to progress through to the higher levels. And sometimes when you're at university, at the University Centre Rotherham, what you're picking up from our HE courses is transferable skills that you can take elsewhere. When you're doing an apprenticeship, of course, you're picking up those skills as well, but you are picking up industry relevant experience that you may find pigeonholes you down that career for the future. But the other side of it is you have to pay tax and national insurance. And so you will likely earn over the threshold to pay those. And there will be an expectation that your employer pays those for you. That's very different to going to university or the University Centre Rotherham, where you get a bursary and you work part-time and probably don't pay tax. So what are the benefits of studying a higher degree apprenticeship? Well, I think one of the main things from our perspective is you get a dedicated skills tutor. The skills tutor is an industry expert. They come from the industry that they're training in. They are extremely supportive, and they're there to mentor and support you through your apprenticeship. So for example, when you get the theoretical sessions that we run, and I'll use higher management as an example, you may get handling a difficult conversation as one of the modules that you'll cover. Now, you're not going to be handling difficult conversations every single day, hopefully anyway. But it will be something that you'll need to pick up further down the line. And so if it's 6 months before you have to deal with a difficult conversation, it's useful to have that apprenticeship skills tutor who can mentor and support you. You give them the context, they will help to give you the narrative and the support, and then you apply it. And that goes for the care qualifications that we offer, as well as the engineering ones. You have that subject expert that can take the theoretical knowledge and apply it to your job role. They'll also link with your employer. So if, for example, you find you're struggling for time, or you're unable to contextualize some of the things that we need to contextualize, and you don't feel comfortable having that conversation with your employer, your apprenticeship skills tutor will do that for you. All of our apprenticeships are highly practical. It's about work-based observations. We want to see you doing this job. So you're not writing endless dissertations and assignments, although there are always going to be assignments you have to do. We like to mix in a mixture of professional discussions where we take you out of your workplace and ask you questions about your job role. And what we're looking to do is see that skills and knowledge in practice. How are you applying the theories that you've been taught? And so all of those skills allow you to develop communication. It allows you to develop team working. And where possible, we link them to qualifications. So our level 7 qualification as senior leader, for example, comes with the award from the Chartered Management Institute, and also our care qualifications are level 5 qualifications. Obviously, our engineering qualification is the level 4 HNC. So whilst you're getting that practical experience, it's linking through to nationally recognized qualifications. And finally, we do group delivery. This would be the same for the higher qualifications that we offer at the University Centre Rotherham that aren't apprenticeships. But you're getting that peer-to-peer support. You're speaking to people from outside your industry or outside of your company who can help to sometimes contextualize what you're learning. Our sessions are always using the latest techniques. So we update our apprenticeships and our delivery and our teaching and learning and assessment planners every year. So if there's a new theory that's been taught, it might not be something that filters through to industry for 5 or 10 years. You'll be learning it as part of your apprenticeship, and you can take that back to your employer. And the final thing is it's an inclusive offer. We make sure that we don't have massive group sessions. We don't have 30 people in a seminar room. We do short group delivery. We have flexible entry criteria. What we don't want to do is set people up to fail. It's really important that you can meet a certain academic standard so that you can write assignments and you can understand the theories that we're teaching. But we're very, very flexible around that requirement. And if you have any additional learning needs, the college makes sure that we put that support in place, and that is in your individualized learning plan. And then finally, you've got a tripartite support. You've got your employer, you've got the training provider, and then you've got yourself. So there's a list of the qualifications that we offer. We're expanding those, and as you can see, we've got the specialist teaching assistant coming in September. We've got the chartered manager level 6, which is validated by the University of Hull, and then we've got the engineering manufacturing technician, which is a highly practical engineering qualification. A number of different management qualifications, and then our learning and skills tutor, which is all around taking people out of industry and helping them the practice of teaching. So for example, if you're an electrician and you want to get off the tools and start teaching, the learning and skills tutor level 5 is ideal to help you learn those teaching theories and then be able to apply them in your career. And then finally, we've got the leader in adult care level 5. We have the lead practitioner level 4, but what we're finding is employers are telling us that actually the level 5 is the best route for them. A lead practitioner at level 4 would be more for somebody who was perhaps a senior carer within an organisation. So what I will say is if you want to do any of these apprenticeships and you're not currently working in those sectors, it might be that you go a step below. So for example, the specialist teaching assistant level 5 would be a progression route from our teaching assistant level 3. So instead of looking at it, I want to go straight on to level 5, you maybe need to take a more longer term view that it might be 18 months on the level 3, and then you would do the 18 months to 2 years on the level 5. Same with the engineering. You might come to us on a level 2, do 2 years at level 2, do a further 2 years at level 3, and then do a further 2 years doing your HNC at level 4. So don't be in a rush when you come to us for an apprenticeship to go straight onto these. We don't get many employers that offer these because of the nature of the job roles that you have to be in. It is a progression route, but luckily we've got both the full-time programs and the apprenticeships to give you that skills and confidence to then progress to the higher apprenticeships afterwards.
That is brilliant, James. Thank you ever so much for that explanation. Back to you, Mark, to talk about probably the more traditional side of our higher offering.
Yeah, as I alluded to earlier, we have the traditional routes, which are the foundation degrees and the degrees. The foundation degree is the level 5, and the level 6, in which we have either a full degree, year 1, year 2, year 3, or we can do it as a top up. And again, that's dependent upon which area you have an interest in. We work with and we're validated by Sheffield Hallam University, Huddersfield University, and the University of Hull in supporting us with our delivery. So we have a foundation degree, which is over 2 years. You can do that part-time, which can be over 3 or 4 years. We have the bachelor's degree, level 6, which again is done over 3 years, or part-time can be done over 5 to 6 years. There are having sort of discussions at the minute in terms of speeding the degrees up and the foundation degrees up and condensing them, which again will have a positive impact upon expenditure, and your loans, or your full fee that you may pay. And we also have 2 routes from where we've got a master's degree, level 7, within education, again, which can be studied over 2 to 4 years. And as it says at the bottom there, the education professional development at level 7, where we'll be running our second cohort in September this year.
Fantastic.
Sorry, Lucy. These traditional routes will provide and present you with a more theoretical base. We are looking on how we're enhancing these provisions, and each provision, each area, are being supported and developed with guest speakers, with employers, a more effective way of assessment to meet needs of learners, which will then support students' progression and destinations into more higher performing, higher level job roles, which again is accompanied by a higher earning income as well.
You've just answered the next question, actually. Thank you, Mark. That yes, these courses will improve career prospects. I think both James and Mark have alluded to that throughout, that that's going to be a huge benefit by taking these on, and that the types of jobs you'll be getting after completing a higher skills course is much more management focused and leadership focused. It's basically that extension to your current career and extending those careers to the next step, and as you're completing your higher skills, therefore you are going to be climbing that career ladder into a higher position in the career that you want to be in. It's really important, I think, for a lot of people to ask, do employers recognize these qualifications? Are these qualifications things, especially these newer skills-based qualifications, are these something that employers recognize? Because everyone obviously recognizes degrees, and everyone knows about university degrees for such a long time, but it's like T levels coming in and that sort of like worry, oh, do universities accept T levels? Do employers recognize these qualifications? Mark, over to you first.
Thanks, Lucy. Employers do. The HTQs, as an example, have been written in conjunction with employers, as we said earlier in the webinar. The reason that HTQs, high technical qualifications, become established and evolved were due to the feedback from employers and filling these skills gaps. So the government had worked with employers to be able to identify, and HEIs and colleges to identify what were the gaps. These opportunities then have been developed and devised to ensure that these skills gaps that employers have highlighted are filled and completed. It's creating a sustainable workforce for the future. HNDs and HNDs are traditional and traditionally known by the community and multiple sectors. So that there is lots of noise, but again, as Lucy, you alluded to earlier, there's lots of work that is required to still coach, advise, guide multiple different individuals, companies, businesses, schools, parents, communities, in regards to opportunities that are arriving at people's doorsteps in relation to higher level skills opportunities via HNCs, HNDs, the higher national flex, so the units, the credits that are rewarded through completing a specific module, and in HN, a foundation degree, the traditional route, all the way up to a full degree or a top-up degree because you've completed a foundation degree, into your level 7s, etc. So there's lots and lots and lots of opportunities available. We just need to support, advise, and guide individuals what the right step and the right opportunity is for each individual moving into the sector or progressing within a sector.
I think Mark makes a really good point, everyone listening, because these are important, and it's just about the more people doing it, the more it gets recognised. James, can I ask you next question? I'm very aware that employers recognise apprenticeships, higher and degree level apprenticeships. So can these courses help a person switch careers? So could someone move into an apprenticeship to switch a career, for instance, or would they have to do something beforehand before doing that?
Yeah, absolutely they can. So we, for example, will have people come into a care environment. They may not have worked in care before, but what they have is the attributes and the behaviors that will allow them to be successful. As long as they can meet the entry criteria for the skills and knowledge, then we can put them on an apprenticeship. But I would probably say for our management qualifications, which are the most popular, oftentimes people are promoted into roles that they are good practitioners in, but they're not given the leadership training or skills to be able to become an effective leader. And we know that 1 in 4 leaders doesn't have any leadership training. They're what are called the accidental managers. And so whilst switching careers is one thing, I think progressing throughout your career as well is also really important that you have that continual professional development. When it comes to the specialist teaching assistant, we would normally expect somebody to have a level 3. However, if someone's been volunteering at a local school, as an example, and they wanted to progress and they were in a hurry and they had the relevant entry criteria and the will, then absolutely they could progress straight onto a higher apprenticeship.
Fantastic. So we talked about that these higher skills courses are, James has mentioned that these are co-funded by employers for the apprenticeship degrees, and the higher skills courses available. I know that they all are funded courses that the learners would have to fund. Is that correct, Mark?
Hi, Lucy. There's funding available. So if you're an access to HE learner, there's the advanced learner loan that can help support and fund you. The beauty of the advanced learner loan, as it currently stands, if you then go on to complete a foundation degree, a higher level, that money or that loan, if you like, is kind of removed because you've used the access opportunity to go and achieve high level provision. There are student loans, if you like, that can help support you fund the high national certificate, the high national diploma, the foundation degrees, the degrees. If you're looking to complete a high HN Flex, that's fully funded. So either your employer or yourself would have to self-fund that. And again, all prices for our higher national HN Flex modules and units are available for you to look at in terms of what it is that you're looking to study as well.
Yeah, I saw the cost for that. They're a very reasonable cost actually for the HN Flex. So I certainly would recommend looking at that if you are wanting to start somewhere. I'm going to move on to these. So James and Mark have talked about the need for prior qualifications, but obviously James mentioned that obviously if someone had 10 years management experience, it's about being flexible going into a course, and that's what we would always look at. But Mark and James, are there age restrictions for these courses at all? James, you first.
So from our apprenticeship perspective, you just have to be over the age of 16. There's no upper requirement. We have apprentices that have studied into their 60s and beyond. It's all around wanting that career progression. So yeah, entry criteria really are that you are working in the sector. This is for apprenticeships. You're working in the sector doing a relevant job role and that you're over the age of 16. We don't have qualification entry requirements for our higher apprenticeships. What we're looking for is that you have the relevant job role and that you can meet a certain academic standard when it comes to writing.
Fantastic. Mark, do you want to add anything in terms of the other skills talked about?
Depending upon what what you're aiming to study. We've alluded to the access, so a level 3 qualification to show that you have the ability to progress and manage and develop that workload, understand that workload, appreciate that workload. However, we also spoke about learners that are coming back into education that be classed as mature learners that have had that experience of life, experience of work, similar to what James has said, and therefore it's very much in that space. If learners are 21, 22 and above, that opportunity of that real bespoke careers conversation around what is the best fit for you. What I would say and what I would encourage is that whatever your interest and your keen interest is and your ambition is, we will have something that can support you into getting towards your end goal, whether it's through a traditional HE route, through a foundation degree, a HND, HNC, through the development of an HN Flex that will improve your job prospects, either what you are currently employed within now to move to the next level. Are you an accidental manager? Do you need a little bit more support in terms of your leadership? So could you do a unit within the HNC business qualification, which might help them support you, is another example. So it's very much bespoke and in terms of where you're at in regards to experience, in terms of qualification. But we are here to support, advise and guide and offer you the best route.
Thank you, Mark. So we recognise that these are recognised qualification certifications that have various backings behind them. One of the questions that I thought was really important to ask is, on both areas, I'll go to you, James, first. Can I transfer credits to other institutions if I have to move away for family reasons, as an example? James, higher degree level apprenticeships.
Yes. So yes is the answer. We have learners that transfer to us that have been partway through an apprenticeship, and what we do is called recognised prior learning. We take what units they've already done, we apply them to the apprenticeship, and we knock that time off. We also knock the money off as well. So if they've done 20% of the course, the cost will be 20% less. And so training providers do work together, and if, for example, you were working with us on a qualification and you moved away and needed to transfer that apprenticeship to another provider, we would work with that other provider to transfer the information over so that they could pick up and move forward. And with regards to the recognised qualifications and certifications, all of our higher apprenticeships do come with a recognised qualification, but the apprenticeship standard itself is a recognised qualification as well. So you're actually getting 2 qualifications.
All right, amazing. Mark, over to you. Can people transfer credits for the other areas?
So as we alluded to earlier, you've got the HN Flex where you can purchase credits from a specific HNC or HND. Yes, you'll bank that and you can take that with you, and you can buy credits if you like from other opportunities, which might be from a degree, might be from a foundation degree from different institutions. But what we alluded to earlier is about the flexibility of the provision and the models. So it might be that you do move away, you do move out of the area, but due to the models and the functionality of how we deliver, you'll still be able to access everything that we've got to offer that you originally set out to achieve.
Fantastic, thank you. So it's just wrapping up this webinar now. If you do want more information out there, please ring us on this number in front of you or email us at ucr@rotherham.ac.uk. We are here to help with all your needs. You can go onto that webpage I spoke to you about and have a proper look at the different options we have available. It just remains for me to thank James and Mark for their time tonight. To let you know, our next webinar, we have a bit of a break. It's not until the end of April the 29th, and it's on commercial training opportunities. So if you're an employer wanting to support your staff with adult skills, distance learning, commercial opportunities, and more, tune in on the 29th of April to that webinar. Thank you very much, Mark and James, for all your expertise tonight. It's been absolutely brilliant. And everyone this National Careers Week, thank you for your time tonight and have a great rest of the week. Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.